Hello and welcome back to another video in the Complete Web Development series. I hope that you guys are starting to see the power of everything that you've learned and how it can all come together to make a career. We are going to continue on. Now I will say that there are way more things to learn in each section or each topic that we've covered, but I do want to just kind of get you guys a brief overview of everything, get you a pretty good understanding to where you can walk into a job and confidently start working. All right, so if you've enjoyed this so far, if you want to help me out, please comment or like or subscribe or all three. Hit that little bell notification so you're updated when I release new content. And also, if you'd like to support me on Patreon, please do so at patreon.com/freeskills. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and switch over to our screen. And the first thing I'm going to do is create a new branch for us to work on. And I'm going to create it from main, so we're already on main. I'm going to get checkout-b, and this will be v8. And I'm going to do a git push set upstream origin v8. Once we've done that, I just want to make sure that examp or champ is up and running. We'll do sudo opt lamp examp start, and I know that mine is up and running. But the main thing that we're looking at right now is that MySql is up and running. The next thing we'll do is go ahead and start up our server. So on another tab here, I'm going to hit npm start, and that will start our node server listening on port 5000. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to start the ability for us to create users. And so we are actually going to need a new library so that we can encrypt passwords. We don't want to store plain text passwords in our database. So let's go back here to our server, our terminal, and we'll do npm install --save bcrypt, like that. Hit enter. And this will install a package called bcrypt for us. Now it says we have some vulnerabilities. Let's just see if we can fix those by typing npm audit. I don't know that we can fix these, but we'll do npm audit fix. Yeah, it's just not fixing it right now, so it probably will fix it later on. You might have more or less dependent vulnerabilities. I don't worry too much about it, but if we can fix them, we fix them. All right, I'm gonna hit clear. Now we have, we will have in our package.json some new dependencies. You can see we have MySql and sequelize from the last video, and now we have bcrypt right here. All right, so now that we had that, I'm gonna close down the package.json, and what we're gonna do is go ahead and go to API controllers and open up your users controller. And what we're gonna do in this is let's first work on our sign up. So the sign up, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of all the junk in here. And we want to make sure that this is an asynchronous function because we are going to be doing database calls. And then what we're going to do is let's do a little bit of validation here at the top. And we're going to say, hey, if request.body.password does not equal request.body.confirm password, we're going to require both a password and a confirm. So this is our sign up endpoint. Then we're going to return a response with a status of 422. And we're going to do a JSON, which will take an object. Actually, we're going to use an array here. And this will take an array of objects. And what we're going to do is try to map this to the correct way that we get responses back for sequelize. So that will be passwords do not match. And we'll also send back confirm. Whoops. Path. This one will be confirm password. And the message on there will also be passwords do not match. Okay. Outside of that if statement, we'll continue on, and we're going to do a try catch block here. Looks like my AC is going to kick on for a minute. So we'll do response.status 422.json, and we're going to pass error.errors in to that. The next thing we're going to do in this try block is we're going to say const user is equal to an await. We're going to wait for this to happen. We're going to use our user model, which will be a sequelize object, and we can use the create method here. Now, what we're going to do on the create method is pass in an object, and we're going to say fname is equal to request.body.fname. lname is request.body.lname. Email is request.body.email. Password is going to be request.body.password. All right. Then what we're going to do is we are going to we will do a response.status of 200, and then JSON we're going to pass in 6. Oops, this is a method, so we need the parens around this. So we're going to pass in a success of true, and then we're going to pass in the user. We're going to pass the user back to the front end. Okay, so that is it in our controller. But you remember, well, let's just try it out. Let's go here, and remember our route for this, if we go to routes users this time, is going to be /sign up, and it will be a post. So we're going to do /users /sign up, and we need a post here. And the things that we're going to need to pass into this is fname. We'll say Curtis. lname, Parham. Then we're going to say email, curtis@freeskills.com. Password, we're just going to do a plain text password here. And first, let's try out our error message. We'll say confirm password, and we're going to misspell this. Okay. So if I send that now, we did get our errors back with a 422 response, and we got path password with message passwords do not match, path confirm passwords do not match. Let's make that match a little bit better. Okay, so we tested that. Now let's go ahead and make sure these match. This should work. All right, so we get a 200 back, we get a success, and we get an ID back, but you see that the password is stored as plain text. And if we, in fact, if we go to our database, we'll go to API and we'll click on users, you can very well see that the password is stored as a plain text password in our database. We don't want that, so let's delete this from the database now. And let's go ahead and take care of that. So in order to take care of that, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our models. We'll go to our users model and scroll down here to the bottom. And after the sync here, we're going to use a hook that they give us with sequelize called user.beforeCreate. Now what this is going to do is anything that we want to do inside of here will happen before the creation in the database happens. Okay, so in our case, we want to take the password, the plain text password, and we want to encrypt that. So what we can do here is we're going to set that to an async, and this is going to take 2 parameters. It's going to take the user and some options, and that's going to get passed to this function. Now anything that happens inside of these curly brackets will happen to the user. So what we're going to do is we're going to say const hashed is equal to, now what we need to do actually first is we need to go ahead and include that up here. So after the sequelize here, what I'm going to do is we will say const bcrypt is equal to require bcrypt, which is the this is the library that we installed with the npm install at the beginning of this video. So now we can use bcrypt, and what we're going to do is we are going to call this hashed. We're going to say hashed is equal to await bcrypt dot hash user dot password, and then we're going to pass in a salt rounds of 10. Okay, that will make it pretty secure and still have some good speed, but not good enough for brute force attacks. So then we're going to say user dot password then is equal to hashed. So what is this really doing? Well, this is a hook that when we do the user.create, it's going to run this before the creation. Okay, it'll run validation first, and then it's going to run before create. And then it's going to pass the user object into this function. And what we're going to do is create a hashed password from the user.password, and then we're going to update that. Okay, then it's going to go on and create it, and then we should have a hashed password in the database. So let's go and test that now. Go back to Postman, and let's just send that again. Now you can see that the ID is 2, and now the password is here, and this is a hashed password using bcrypt. Okay, so perfect. And I know that this is true, but if we wanted to check in the database, we could refresh here, and now the password is not stored in a plain text fashion. So that's good. Let's carry on. The next thing we want to be able to do in our controller here with our user is we want to go ahead and do the update method. So let's go back to users controller, and let's go down to the update, and I like to get rid of the stuff inside here. And then what we're going to do is make this an async method here, and inside of there we're going to set up a default response equal to success false, and we'll give it a user null. All right, then what we're going to do is we're going to say const user ID is equal to request.params.id. Okay. We're going to have to do a little bit of security, but we're not going to be able to do that until the next video. So for now, we'll just trust them. So we're going to say const user is equal to an await, and we're going to use the user.findOne method, and that will take some options here. And the options that we're going to, actually, you know, we're not going to use find one. Let's do another function here called find by pk, and that's primary key. And so what we can do there is just pass in user ID directly. So now we'll have the user. All right, so then what we're going to do, we're going to say if user exists, then we're going to update them. So we'll say user.fname is equal to request.body.fname. User.lname is equal to request.body.lname. User.email is equal to request.body.email. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do an if statement here. And I don't know why I'm... there we go. Then we're going to say, hey, if request.body.password, then what we're going to do is we are going to say user.update password is equal to true, and user.password is equal to request.body.password. Then outside of that if statement, we're going to do an await, and we're going to await user.save. Okay. Then we're going to do another await, and we're going to do user.reload. And then we're going to do response.success is equal to true, and response.user is equal to user. Then outside of this if statement here, we're going to do response.status of 200.json, and we're going to pass our response into that JSON method there. Okay, so that's all we need to do here. Now the problem with this is if we update the password, it's going to be plain text, so we need to take care of that as well. And that's really easy. We can go back to the user model, and there's another hook for us to use in sequelize, and it's called user.beforeSave. So before we run the save function, it takes an asynchronous anonymous function that gets the user and the options passed into it. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say if user.update password. Now remember, in our controller, we are setting that update password to true. Otherwise, that's probably going to be undefined. Then and only then, we're going to do const hashed is equal to an await bcrypt dot hash user.password salt of 10, and then we'll say user.password is equal to hashed. Just like that. So it's the same logic as before create, but we're only going to want to do it on update if they're trying to update the password. Okay, that's why we added this update password property. All right, so then we can go back to the controller. Let's test this out now. So we have this user ID with an ID of 2, and if we look at our routes, the user routes to update is going to be a patch, and it's going to go to update/ID. So let's try that out. Let's go to users, update, and this needs to be a patch. And what I'm going to do is remove everything out of here, and we are going to do fname, and we're just going to change my fname to Kurt. We'll say, oh, not save. We'll send that, and it didn't find the route, so let me figure that out. Oh, we didn't do the ID. So this needs an / and then the ID was 2. For me, and then now I get this back, and we see we still have the same, the other information is the same. It does go ahead and update the updated @ but it leaves the created @ the password was left alone, email, last name was all left alone. If I change this back to Curtis, and then let's also set a new password. I'm going to set this to passwords with an S, and if we watch carefully down here, this should change. Yep, you see the password is now new, and my first name is back to this. So I'm going to go ahead and fix this now so that I know what my password actually is. And there we go. It changed the password again, and the updated @ got changed. So now we can update and add users to our database. Now, the problem with this is that we don't have any sort of sign-in process or anything like that. So what we need to do is we need to finish our login and our logged in user, as well as add some middleware so that we can protect routes for logged in users only. All right, with that, guys, I will see you in the next video. Please comment, like, subscribe, and if you want to support me, please do so on patreon.com/freeskills. And if you like some merch, you can go on over and join me on Patreon, where you get some free merch, or you can buy it directly below the YouTube video, or you can go to freeskills.life. So I'm going to do get status here. We'll do a get add to stage all these. We'll commit this, and we're going to call this user create and update. We'll push that, And then I'm going to go ahead and git checkout main and do a git merge v8 git push. Now you guys have access to this on my GitHub account. All right, guys, with that, I will see you in the next video. We will continue on with our user login stuff. We're going to go ahead and add our login tokens, which are called JWT tokens, what we're going to use. And so we'll do that in the next video. I'll see you there.